Welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us for our OCP, our Oʻahu Compost Project official launch. And also, happy Food Prevention Week, or Food Waste Prevention Week, sorry, not food prevention. Happy Food Waste Prevention Week. And really thankful for all of you partners, media, and special guests to attend today. You know, food waste really is a huge problem that we deal with. A ton of it currently goes into the traditional waste stream. The goal of this project with Oʻahu Compost is to really divert that and create a reusable product that we can recycle the nutrients back into the food system. And for the last 3 months, we've been working with wonderful restaurants and gladly needing to expand as we have the capacity to even do a little more food waste. And this being just the tip of what Oʻahu can do. OCP was made possible through a grant with the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Services, which is the USDA agency that helps both municipalities and even organizations figure out how to better do conservation work. And this work was absolutely, it would have not been possible without the partnership with the city's environmental services, with Office of Economic Revitalization, with the Full Circle Farm, Supersistence, and also with funding and partnership through Aloha Harvest, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaiʻi, and Zero Waste. The Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency applied for this funding and helps to manage this program. The project really is a start, and it'll help show us the potential of what can happen. And really the man to speak to that and have the privilege of introducing today, our Mayor, Blangiardi.
Good morning, everybody. Aloha. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dexter. And look, one of the first things I want to say is I'm very proud of the fact that a number of our departments came together to make this happen. But this is something that I strongly believe in, and this is just the beginning and really a precursor, if you will, for really greater plans. Quite honestly, and I said this recently in my State of the City address, the way we've handled food waste, especially in a tropical climate, has really been behind the times. And so, you know, there's a lot more that we could be doing. We have extensive plans underway. We'll be talking about that on a going forward basis, but I think residents can anticipate that we're going to dramatically change how we treat our food waste. You know, when you stop and think about it, all the food that goes down garbage disposals and what happens to that and what that causes in the source system and everything else that we have to deal with. And even though we've got good treatment plants and whatever, there's a much better way to be able to treat our food waste, much more efficient, that could actually result in creating some great products to make it reusable. So in that spirit of everything that we're trying to do today on reusable products and making the most out of everything we have, this speaks to that. So this is just the beginning, and I'm very grateful that we're doing it in Chinatown with our restaurants down here to begin this. But I think you can anticipate in the weeks, if not months ahead, hopefully in just the weeks ahead, some major announcements from the city and county on how we treat food waste. So I'm very excited about this. I'm supposed to introduce somebody up here to come up and speak after me. I'm here for any questions you might have. Who's next, Dexter? Dexter's the MC. Okay, good. And Dexter's going to answer all the questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Gladly we have our partners that do the work on the ground that can also chime in. Really would also like to mention that this project is helping to implement the strategies and actions of the city's integrated solid waste management plan and the climate action plan. And as Mayor said, it's really just a proof of concept, the start of what really can happen. And a great partner to speak to that from Aloha Harvest is Phil Acosta.
Mahalo, Mayor. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. When it comes to food resources, we always want to utilize what we can. Rescue what we can to prevent waste. And Aloha Harvest has done a pretty good job of that in the past 23 years. In fact, in the last 2 decades, we've diverted over 32 million pounds of quality excess food. And so that's 32 million pounds is not going to the incinerator, not going to the landfill. And redistributing that food, really, it reduces greenhouse gases, conserves the resources used to grow, process, transport, all that. And bottom line, it improves our food security. And as Dexter mentioned, how fitting that we're having this news conference today during Food Waste Prevention Week, which is being celebrated nationally. We're so excited that now we have a feasible solution in place so that we can deal with the food that we cannot rescue, like the food scraps and other organic waste. So we collect that from various restaurants like Encore and Daley and Pizza Mamo. So thank you for the partnership. We collect that at the blue bins that have been donated through the city and county, and they are being composted at Full Circle Farm out in Waimanalo. And we're fortunate enough to have the use of the brand new flatbed truck that you may have seen outside, nice and shiny, that was gifted to us through the Gift Foundation. At full capacity, the in-vessel composting machine at Full Circle has the capacity to process 1,000 pounds of food scraps and organic waste, and in turn creating 500 pounds of usable compost. So within a year, that's 365,000 pounds of food scraps that's not going to the incinerator, that's not going to the landfill. And we're creating over 180,000 pounds of compost that we can put back into the soil. Now imagine if we had a composting site at each one of the districts on Oʻahu. Combine that with our food rescue efforts, which is at about 3 million pounds annually. That's a significant amount of food that we're diverting, we're feeding to people, we're putting back into the environment. And together we can really make a difference and work towards creating a sustainable and resilient food system for Hawaii. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce Director Roger Babcock with the Department of Environmental Services.
Roger Babcock, Department of Environmental Services. We want to give a big mahalo to Aloha Harvest for working on this project and diverting tons of food waste out of our waste stream. Otherwise, these wastes would end up at H-Power. They'd be burned and turned into ash, and then that ash has to go to our landfill. And as you know, we have space issues and lifetime issues with our landfill. It's very difficult to site another landfill. So any source reduction, getting things out of the waste stream, is really beneficial to us. And that's why we're a contributor to some of the funding for this project, as well as the 10 blue carts that we see here where the food waste is collected in. They have a lockable lid in order to keep out pests, to keep in odors, and to keep out contamination in the form of rubbish that doesn't belong in there. So we're excited about this project and this partnership. This involves commercial food waste. There's also residential food waste, and last summer Council passed a bill, Bill 62, so that to have us collect food waste from residences. That means the gray, green, and blue carts. So beginning in relatively near future, once we get everything organized, some new contracts in place so that we can co-compost green waste, residential green waste with residential food waste with the green waste, which is currently composted. We'll be rolling that out sometime in the near future. So thank you. I want to introduce now Henry Gabriel. He's the head of our recycling branch.
Henry Gabriel, City and County of Honolulu Recycling Program Branch Chief. Welcome to Chinatown. Normally we're here for the food. Normally here to walk the streets for art and whatnot. We're here for food waste this time. Food waste. So here we are, we're at Encore, and they're recycling their food waste. This is a collaboration through non-government organizations and the city where we're tackling food waste on a commercial level. 94,000 tons. You heard the other speakers talk about, oh, food waste goes to H-Power. 94,000 tons of commercial food waste ends up at H-Power. Why? Why is this happening? We need to figure out different methods, different ways. And you're going to hear it today, and you've heard it today. You've got Aloha Harvest, who's redistributing food to feed people. This is the hierarchy of food waste management, or food recovery hierarchy. Source reduction. How do we source reduce? Feed people, feed animals. Then we get into biofuels. Roger had talked about that. We're looking at biofuels, and then composting. And that is what Full Circle Farms partnered with Sustainable Sustainable Coastlines on this composting project. We're headed in the right direction to really tackle this beast. And I'm only talking commercial tonnage now. Think about the residential tonnage that we're going to be facing coming up. So we're headed in the right direction. Thank you for this to all the partners. Thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity, and to sustainable or to climate change for putting this together. You can tell I get excited about food waste. Any waste I get excited about. So thank you once again. We're headed in the right direction.
And next up, the guy who was crazy enough to say yes to us, owner Danny.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Danny Ka'aili'i. I'm the owner of Encore, the Daley, and Pizza Mamo. Thank you for being here today. So we initially heard of this pilot program a few months ago, and after learning about the program, we had a few discussions, and really my angle was, how is this going to impact my business? What does it look like logistically for operations? And after a few conversations, it was a no-brainer for us. The impact is pretty seamless. We take a tick slower to be conscious about where we put our trash versus our food waste and our recycling. This extra step addresses issues that are important to everyone in Hawaii: food security, minimizing waste, improving sustainability and efficiencies. So those are things that are important to us. So we're excited to be a part of this program. Our responsibility as a business to our community extends beyond just entertainment and feeding people, serving drinks. We are part of a community, and it's important that we as a business take actions that impact our community in a positive way. For us, it's a couple small steps. If we can multiply this across all the restaurants in Chinatown, across Honolulu, maybe someday across the state, I think it could have a really big impact on our community. So thanks so much for starting this program and making it easy for people like me to execute it. Next, I'm going to hand it off to Raphael Bergstrom from Sustainable Coastlines Hawaiʻi.
Aloha, everybody. Raphael Bergstrom, the Executive Director for Sustainable Coastlines Hawaiʻi. Our mission is to inspire people to care for coastlines, communities to care for coastlines. And what most people know us for is our large-scale beach cleanups. For instance, in Waimanalo on the 23rd of this month, we're trying to get 2,000 people to come to our beach cleanup. But I want to zoom out for just a second on this project, because the reason why we do beach cleanups is not to clean the beaches. We don't want to be cleaning beaches for the rest of our lives. Our objective is to really connect with community on how do we value our resources on a deeper level so that we don't clean beaches in the future. We don't want our kids to be cleaning beaches. And composting can be a huge part of that. And it started for us almost 10 years ago with our Sustain Events program and our collaboration with the World Surf League and with Vans, where we actually are doing resource recovery on the beach at those events, where we're separating out trash, compost, recyclables to try and educate the community that it's possible. And in doing that, we ended up with a lot of food waste that we didn't know exactly how to process effectively. I was on a hike with a former chef at KCC who told me about Green Mountain Technologies and their in-vessel compost machine. And it kind of solved so many of the issues that we have with composting. Odors, runoff, leachate, all of these things that people are scared of with composting. So I immediately looked them up and collaborated with 11th Hour Racing and Frost Family Foundation to write a grant to get one of these machines in Hawaii, the first of its kind, and had an amazing partner at Full Circle Farm who was willing to take a leap and go with this and start it and pilot it. We have the first operational Department of Health food waste permit now over a long process of a year to make that happen, where we can actually now effectively take not only from our events and our Sustain Events program, but also from restaurants like Encore here in Chinatown and that spreading network of them. And ultimately, I want to get that across that this is just the beginning. We can't be burning our organic waste when there's so much opportunity for reuse in the future. And when we talk about going back to our mission, the more healthy soils that we create here, the less runoff we have going down to our coastlines, the more food we can grow at home with healthy organic fertilizers, and the less food that we have to import that's wrapped in plastic that ends up back in our oceans. So I'm just very proud to be a part of this collaboration, and really the true part of that, the collaboration that we're talking about, private businesses, NGOs, government, all working together in this, and I couldn't be prouder. So mahalo for the time, and I'm going to introduce Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you. Well, I'll keep it nice and brief since I'm the last one. But this goes to show that good things can happen when the government, the private sector, and nonprofits come together. I want to thank Mayor Blangiardi for spearheading this effort here in Chinatown. We're working really hard to revitalize Chinatown, to support the businesses, to get more people to come to Chinatown and enjoy our restaurants, enjoy the culture, enjoy the art. And so my message to the public would be, come on down to Chinatown, check out the restaurants. You'll not only get a good meal, but you can feel good knowing that any food waste is going to go to supporting this really good effort in composting. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Dexter, and we'll wrap this up.
Mahalo again, council member, special guests, speakers. I would like to just point out one note. The visual behind me is great. These are the bins that we use, but folks at home shouldn't throw food waste in it. These are specially designed for the Oʻahu Compost Project. Notice stickers, etc. So blue bin, still put recyclables, corrugated boxes, but not food waste. But as Mayor said, stay tuned. The city has definitely more in store regarding composting.